Alex stood at the edge of the ancient steps, surrounded by tall warriors with silver skin and glowing blue eyes. Their armor hummed softly, alive with energy. The sun above was not like Earth's sun. It was bigger, redder, casting strange shadows on the polished stone of the Valari capital. Behind Alex stood a team of humans, diplomats, scientists, and armed escorts. They had traveled across light years for this moment. It was the first official meeting between humans and the Valari in more than 100 years. No human had ever been allowed beyond the Great Gate of Valthar, the alien empire's throne world, until now. The gate was massive, two towering doors of black stone with pulsing veins of silver. Strange symbols moved across them like they were alive. Then suddenly the symbols froze. The Valari warriors raised their weapons and the one who seemed to be in charge stepped forward. "No one may pass," he said in a deep echoing voice. "Except him." He pointed at Alex. There was silence. "Wait. What?" Alex said, blinking. He looked at the others. His teammates were just as shocked. The Valari warrior did not repeat himself. Instead, the great gate slowly began to open, just wide enough for one person to enter, and then a voice filled the air. It was calm, powerful, female. "Only you may enter, human." Alex froze. The voice wasn't heard through ears. It was in his mind. It felt like warm wind brushing against thought deep and ancient. One of the scientists whispered, "It's the Queen, she's calling you." "The Queen?" Alex whispered back. "Why me?" No one answered. Even the Valari didn't seem to know. Alex looked at his boots, at the dust on the stone path, at the strange writing glowing under his feet. This wasn't just a visit. Something strange was happening. He looked at the others. "Should I go?" The lead diplomat said carefully. "It's your choice, but this might be something bigger than we understand." Alex took a deep breath. He had trained for diplomacy, not adventure. He was good at words, not wars. But the Queen had chosen him. If he said no, would they ever get another chance? He stepped forward. The Valari guards did not move. The gate widened, slightly, just enough to welcome him. As he walked past the massive doors, they closed behind him without a sound. The other side was silent. No guards, no noise. Just a long hallway made of dark stone, glowing softly along the edges with lines of light. The air was cool, clean, and had a soft, sweet scent, like flowers from a dream. Alex walked slowly. His boots echoed. The hall seemed to stretch forever, but after what felt like only a few minutes, he reached a wide chamber. The walls were high, arched like a cathedral. At the center, there was a throne, but not like any throne he had imagined. It floated in the air, and on it sat the Queen. She was tall even while seated. Her skin shimmered like pearl and her long hair moved as if underwater. She wore no crown, but her eyes, bright, violet, and sharp, felt like they could see through every lie, every fear. Alex bowed slightly, unsure of the proper greeting. I am Alex Carter, envoy from Earth." The Queen did not speak with her mouth. Once again, her voice echoed in his mind. "You carry something ancient within you, Alex Carter, a spark that was lost long ago." Alex didn't know what that meant. He opened his mouth to ask, but she raised her hand. "Do not speak yet. There is much you do not understand." Her tone was not unkind. It was firm, yes, but not angry. She stood, and Alex realized how tall she truly was. Almost a full head, taller than him. Her robe shimmered with colors he didn't have names for. "You wonder why I chose you?" she said gently. "But it was not I who made the choice, the bond chose. The memory chose." Now Alex was really confused. "I don't understand," he said aloud. She stepped closer. He didn't feel fear, just awe. "Long ago, before your species knew stars, we walked together, humans and Valari. We were allies. More than that, family. Alex's heart raced. You're saying we were connected? Yes. But time and war broke the bond. Until now, no human who entered this place carried the mark. But you do. Alex didn't feel different. He was just a diplomat, a kid from a mining colony on Mars. What do you want from me? He asked. The Queen paused. To awaken what sleeps, to remember what was lost, and maybe to begin again. Alex swallowed. Behind him, the gate had sealed shut. Ahead of him stood a being who could destroy him with a word, but she hadn't. Instead, she had said, "Only you may enter." And now she was asking him to take the first step into something far greater than himself. Alex followed the Queen through the quiet palace halls. There were no guards, no servants, just silence and soft lights that moved along the walls as they walked. The strange living stone under his boots responded to every step, glowing briefly, before fading again. He glanced around, still unsure if this was real or some kind of dream. Everything felt too perfect, too calm. The air was cool and smelled like a mixture of fresh rain and blooming flowers. Yet there was something heavy in the silence, like the place was holding its breath. The Queen finally spoke, not with her mouth, but through that same smooth voice inside his mind. You feel confused. That is expected. You were not prepared for this meeting, but something in you brought you here. Alex nodded, unsure what to say. He decided to speak honestly. I don't feel special. I didn't train for anything like this. I'm just a peace envoy. The Queen stopped and turned to him. Her eyes, glowing violet, watched him carefully. Do you believe your worth is measured by training alone? No. There are deeper qualities: courage, compassion, balance. The bond sees these. That is why you were called. They entered a round room filled with floating crystals. Each one glowed softly, showing brief images. Memories, perhaps. Some showed battles. Others showed stars being born. One crystal showed a group of humans and Valerie standing side by side, their hands joined. Alex stepped closer. The crystal responded, glowing brighter. What is this? He asked. The memory. Hall, the Queen said. Each crystal holds moments from our past, some from before the fall. The fall? When the bond between Valerie and humans was broken. It was a time of fear and betrayal. Long ago, we thought your kind was lost forever. Alex turned to face her. And now you believe we can be allies again? The Queen looked at him for a long moment. Not allies, something more. But first, you must understand what you are. She motioned to a smaller door at the side of the chamber. It opened silently, revealing a small chamber. At its center floated a glowing chair, surrounded by thin beams of light. Alex hesitated. What is that? The mirror of origin, she said. It will not harm you, but it will show you who you truly are. Alex slowly walked toward the chair. As he sat down, the beams of light adjusted, scanning him. The room dimmed, and then everything changed. Alex found himself standing in the middle of a large field. The sky was purple, the grass silver. 2 moons hung above. He wasn't alone. In front of him stood a group of Valari and humans, dressed in strange armor, holding hands. They looked at him with calm eyes. He felt something move inside him. A pulse. A spark. Suddenly, he remembered something. But it wasn't a memory from his life. It was older. He was someone else, fighting beside a Valari warrior. He was flying a strange ship through an alien storm. He was holding a child with glowing eyes. The images came fast, like flashes of a forgotten life. They were not dreams. They were fragments of something real. Then he was back in the chair. The Queen stood beside him, her face serious. You saw it, she said softly. Alex nodded slowly. Those weren't my memories, were they? No. They are part of what the bond holds, buried deep inside you. I don't understand how that's possible. Because you are not just human. You carry traces of the old bloodline, those who once stood with us. That is why the gate opened for you. That is why I called you. Alex stood up. His legs felt heavy. What do you want me to do? Awaken it, she said. Train with us. Remember more. Help restore what was lost between our kinds. The galaxy is changing. A storm is coming. We will need you. Alex swallowed hard. I don't know if I'm ready. No one ever is. But the spark has chosen you. She turned and walked toward another door. It opened into a massive garden. Plants unlike any he had seen bloomed in every color. At the center was a pool, its water perfectly still. She motioned for him to join her. As they walked, she said, You are not here by accident, Alex Carter. You are a bridge between our worlds. And if you accept, your life will never be the same, again. He looked up at the alien sky, and he realized he couldn't turn back now. Something deep inside had already started to change. Alex stood at the edge of the garden pool, still unsure of what was real and what was not. The water was crystal clear, but the reflection it gave back was different. It did not show just him. It showed something more. A version of him in strange armor holding a glowing symbol in his hand. The Queen stood beside him, her voice calm as always, speaking into his thoughts. The bond within you is ancient, but to awaken it fully you must be tested. Not by me, but by the bond itself. Alex turned to her. What kind of test? A test of the heart, of who you are when fear comes. When no one is watching, it will not harm your body, but it will test your soul. He didn't feel ready, but he nodded. If this was the reason he was chosen, he had to face it. The Queen raised her hand. The pool began to ripple. Lights rose from the water and surrounded Alex like fireflies. Then, everything went dark. Alex opened his eyes and found himself in a new place. He was no longer in the palace. He stood in the middle of a ruined city, buildings half collapsed, smoke in the air. Screams echoed in the distance. Fires burned across the sky. He turned and saw alien children running, afraid. Behind them, giant war machines marched forward. They weren't Valari. These were something else, dark, insect-like, soulless. One of the children tripped and fell. Alex ran without thinking, lifting the small child into his arms just before a blast hit the ground nearby. He ducked behind a broken wall, his heart pounding. He had no weapon, no armor, no help, but he had to protect them. More children huddled behind him. Some cried. One was injured. Then he saw it, a small tunnel in the rubble just big enough for them to crawl through. Go, he shouted, pointing. Get inside, I'll hold them back. The children obeyed, crawling through the tunnel one by one. Alex picked up the last child and pushed her forward. Then, the sound of heavy steps grew closer. One of the machines turned the corner and saw him. Alex stood tall. He had nothing to fight with, but he didn't run. The machine raised its weapon. Suddenly, the light around him changed. Time seemed to slow. A glow rose from Alex's chest. The same symbol he saw in the water earlier, now real, burning with light. The machine fired, but the blast never hit. A shield of energy formed around Alex. The beam bounced away harmlessly. Then, the machine stopped like it sensed something greater. Alex looked at his hand. The symbol had carved itself into his palm, bright and warm. He didn't understand it, but he felt something old waking up inside him. Not anger, not rage, purpose. The machine turned and walked away. The sky shifted. And then, everything vanished. Alex opened his eyes again. He was back in the garden. The Queen stood in the same place, watching him. Her eyes held something new now, respect. He gasped for breath. What was that? The test. You passed. I didn't fight. I just tried to save the children. And that is why you passed. She stepped closer. Others have tried the test before. Some fought for glory. Others ran from danger. You chose to protect life, even when you had no power. The bond answered your heart. Alex looked down at his palm. The symbol was still there, now like a tattoo glowing faintly. "What is this?" he asked. "The mark of the true bonded," she said. "Very few carry it. Even fewer earn it. You are now one of us." Alex felt dizzy. He had come as a messenger, a negotiator. Now he was something much more. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now," she said, "you begin your real journey. The galaxy is in danger. The enemy you saw in the test is real. They are coming. And only those who carry the bond can stand against them." Alex stood still, thinking of the children, the fear, the fire. "Then I want to help," he said quietly. "I want to stop them." The Queen placed her hand lightly on his shoulder. "You already have, one small choice at a time. That is how peace begins." The garden's light grew brighter. The plants leaned toward Alex as if they felt his change. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of something ancient, something powerful. And for the first time, he didn't feel out of place in this alien world. Alex stood beneath a sky full of stars he had never seen before. The garden around him glowed gently in the moonlight. The plants seemed to breathe with the wind, and the trees shimmered like they were alive. But Alex was not thinking about the beauty of the place. His mind was full of questions. The mark on his hand still glowed faintly, reminding him of what had happened during the test. He had passed something powerful, something ancient. And now, the Queen looked at him, not as a guest, but as something more. She walked beside him, quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke softly. "There is something I must show you now. Something no human has seen for thousands of years." Alex turned to her. "Why me?" "Because the bond has accepted you," she replied. "And you must understand who you are, before you can choose what comes next." They walked to a wide platform at the edge of the palace. A circle of light rose around them. Slowly, the stone floor began to rise, lifting them into the air like an elevator made of silence. The higher they rose, the more of the city he could see. It was massive, glowing with soft lights, stretching far into the horizon. The Valari capital was not only advanced, it was alive, peaceful, and beautiful. Soon they entered a hidden chamber near the top of the tallest spire. Inside was darkness. The Queen raised her hand and lines of golden light began to draw themselves into the air. They formed shapes, maps, stars, and finally, a series of moving images. A story was being told, not with sound, but with light. Alex watched in silence. He saw humans and Valari working together in ancient times. They built cities on alien worlds, stood side by side in battles, and shared knowledge. He saw great leaders, some who looked like him, others like the Queen. Then something changed. An image showed a Valari council arguing. Some members were afraid of humans growing too fast, too strong. Others believed in unity. The debate turned to anger, and then war. The light shifted again. He saw humans being pushed out, forced to flee into distant stars. The bond was broken. Both sides suffered. Memories were lost. Trust vanished. Finally, the stars faded, and the light returned to the room. Alex felt like someone had placed a heavy stone in his chest. "That's us," he whispered. "That's where we came from." The Queen nodded slowly. "Your people are not outsiders. They are our long-lost kin. You were once part of our empire, our family. But fear separated us." Alex shook his head in disbelief. "Why wasn't this shared before?" "Because the pain was deep," she said, "and because many of us believed the bond would never return. Until now." Alex turned to her. "So what does this mean? That humans and Valari should become one again?" "It means you must decide," the Queen answered. "The galaxy is not safe. A dark force is rising, one that feeds on division, fear and weakness. Only if our two kinds stand together can we face what's coming." Alex looked down at the mark on his palm. It glowed more brightly now. He felt the truth deep inside him. This was not just a story from the past. It was a warning for the future. But I'm just one person, he said. I don't have power. I don't lead armies. The bond does not choose leaders by force or title, she replied. It chooses those with heart, and your heart was seen. Alex was quiet. The room, the air, the entire city seemed to wait for his answer. Then he spoke. What would you have me do? The queen walked to a wide window that opened to the stars. You must go back to your people, she said. Share what you have seen. Show them the truth. Invite them to join with us again. But it will not be easy. Many will not believe you. Some will be afraid, others may try to silence you, Alex nodded. But if I don't, the galaxy may fall. Yes. He looked out at the stars. So many of them. So many lives depending on choices made by people who often didn't understand the full story. He had come here to negotiate peace. Now he was carrying a message that could unite two species, or break them further apart. He turned to the queen. Will you stand with me? The queen stepped forward, her voice warm but firm. I already am. Then she reached out and gently touched the glowing mark on his palm. It shone even brighter, and a second symbol appeared beside it, a Valari crest. You are now bound. To both our peoples, she said. You are the bridge. Alex felt the truth of her words settle into his heart. Heavy, yes, but not unbearable. He could carry it. He would. Alex stood inside the Valari transport ship, watching the planet grow smaller through the window. Vielthar, the hidden throne world of the Valari Empire, had become a part of him. He came as a visitor, but now he left as something much more, a symbol of what could be. The queen had trusted him. The bond had accepted him. And now, the future rested on the message he would bring back to Earth. The ship was silent, except for a soft hum beneath his feet. It was smoother than any human ship, almost like it was gliding through space. A Valari pilot sat ahead, calm and focused, needing no words to understand his duty. Beside Alex sat a small case. Inside it were memory crystals, full of images, sounds, and proof of the long-lost connection between humans and Valari. As the stars stretched outside the window, Alex thought about the faces he would meet when he returned. The politicians, the scientists, the generals. Would they listen? Would they understand? He took a deep breath. He didn't know, but he had to try. 3 days later, the ship entered Earth's orbit. Human defense systems noticed it at once, but the Queen had sent a signal ahead of time. Peaceful arrival, no weapons, special envoy aboard. Still, Earth's response was cautious, The ship landed at a secured spaceport in Geneva. Soldiers lined up around the area. Scientists and leaders stood behind the safety of glass barriers. No one approached the ship. Then the door opened. Alex stepped out, alone, wearing Valari robes marked with 2 glowing symbols. One human, one Valari. People gasped. Is that really him? One whispered. He was gone for weeks. Why? Is he wearing their symbol? He walked calmly toward the main podium. A camera drone followed. The message was being broadcast across the planet. Billions of eyes were watching. Alex stood before the crowd, took a deep breath, and spoke. I come not as just a man, but as a witness of the truth. We were never alone in this galaxy, and we were never strangers to the Valari. We were lost family. He held up the memory crystal. These crystals contain proof, history that was hidden, stories that were forgotten. But I saw it with my own eyes. We stood beside the Valari once, thousands of years ago. Now we have the chance to do it again. Murmurs filled the air. Some doubted. Others listened closely. Alex continued. The Queen of the Valari called to me, not because of who I am, but because of what I carry. Not in my hands, but in my heart. I passed their test. I saw what's coming. A great danger. A force that will not stop at borders, language, or species. He looked directly into the camera. We must stand together, not just to survive, but to lead. To build a future not of fear, but of trust. The Queen offers peace. and I offer a hand. Not in war, but in unity. There was silence. Then slowly, one of the diplomats stepped forward. An old woman, respected across nations, looked at him closely. "You believe this?" she asked gently. "I don't just believe," Alex replied. "I know, and soon, all of you will too. The choice is yours, but the door has been opened, and it will not stay open forever." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded once. "I believe you." Weeks passed. The memory crystals were studied. The Valari confirmed their promise of peace. A small team of human ambassadors was allowed to visit Velthar. When they returned, everything changed. World governments began to unite, not just against future threats, but to prepare for a new future. One where humans were no longer just newcomers in space. They were something ancient, something powerful, something remembered. And leading those talks was Alex. He worked with both sides, human and Valari, guiding their steps, calming fears, and reminding everyone of what was at stake. He was no longer just an envoy. He was the bridge. Months later, a new celebration was held on Velthar. At the top of the same high tower, under the twin moons of the Valari sky, the Queen stood beside Alex. Both wore robes marked with the shared symbols of their people. Thousands of beings, human and Valari, stood below, watching. The Queen raised her hand. "Today we remember what was lost. But more importantly, we honor what has been found." She turned to Alex. "You brought us back together. You chose peace when you had every reason to run. You stood tall when the path was unclear. For that, we honor you, not just as a guest or an ally, but as one of our own." Alex stepped forward. "I didn't do this alone. I followed the light shown to me by the Queen and by those who believed in a better future. I only answered the call." He paused, then smiled. "But now I offer a new call. To every species, every voice in the stars, come and stand with us. A new age begins today. One born not from power, but from unity." The sky above lit up with lights. Ships rose into the air, not for war, but as a symbol of hope, and far beyond that sky, something dark stirred in the galaxy. But this time, humanity would not face it alone.